So hi, this is Neil Gordon. I'm the CEO of the Discovery Museum, and this is On the Bright Side. And On the Bright Side is a production of the Acton-Boxborough United Way, and Discovery Museum's trying to help out a little bit. So we're really lucky to have with us today the Deputy Chief of Police in Acton, Jim Cogan. And Jim, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Jim, I know a lot of things in the world have changed during the pandemic, but how's the job of the Acton Police Department changed in this period?
We still provide services 24 hours a day, but the way we go about our business inside the police station is much different. We typically gather at the beginning of a shift to get information to all of our officers, and now we're doing it virtually. So they now get an email at the beginning of their shift giving them their assignment as to where they're patrolling. They have much less interaction amongst themselves personally. So that's changed. They're also doing a lot more cleaning. So their cars are getting disinfected each shift because the officers do share cars. So they spend a few minutes at the beginning of their shift going through and wiping down all surfaces and making sure that they're being clean. Right.
I can imagine, just like everybody else, your job has had to adapt to these times. I wanted to ask a little bit about sort of stress and things in the community. Last week we talked with Jacqueline Apsler about domestic violence during the pandemic, and we know that you work really closely with the Domestic Services Network. Have you seen any change in need during this period of time?
Jacqueline in DVSN has been our partner for many years. We refer a lot of our calls to them for follow-up and services. So the number hasn't gone up drastically, but we're still working very closely with DVSN.
Yeah, she was very positive about the relationship when we talked. Have you seen any other kind of changes in things related to, people being sheltered down, or increases in stress-related things?
I think so, yes. Mental health calls, I would say, have gone up. People are having a hard time adjusting to this change. And we see it oftentimes by people, just being short-tempered, having disputes between each other. They're in close quarters, so it's difficult sometimes for them to adjust to this new normal.
Yeah. I know people feel really thankful for having the police department there to be able to call for situations like that. So thank you to you and to everybody else on the force for the work you're doing in town during this challenging time. I know that you're also serving as the sort of the drop-off point for people who want to donate personal protective equipment. What can you tell us about that? How does it work?
Well, there's been a great amount of support in that. We have been asked as a central location in town to be a drop-off point. So we're open 24 hours a day. That's one thing that hasn't changed. Our lobby is still open for emergencies, but also for dropping off these masks that people are producing. So we have a box actually outside of our front door that's sheltered. So if someone has something they want to drop off, they can drop it in that box or call and make other arrangements with us.
That's great. That's great to know. So people can literally just come by and drop it off. They don't need to necessarily make an appointment ahead of time.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
Terrific. So these are really challenging times, and everybody in the community has got their own particular struggle. But one of the things we try to highlight on our discussion with folks is whether they've seen, the bright side, personal positive things that they've seen people do, or the way people are interacting. How about yourself? Have you seen any bright side in any of this?
I think our officers and our dispatchers, our staff here, have really risen to this challenge and done phenomenal work with knowing that they face danger every day when they're handling calls. So they've been outstanding in their response, and their consideration to people, knowing that they're under a great deal of stress. And one other thing that I want to mention is we were asked 4 or 5 weeks ago to become part of this birthday brigade there was one right down the street from my house the other day, and I went out and watched them go by. And not only was the child so impressed by the display of kindness these people brought, but everyone in the cars, as well as the fire truck and police car, had a great big smile on their face. They were doing something a little out of the ordinary, but making someone's day brighter and also brightening up their own day.
That's just fabulous. That must be an incredible experience for those kids. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to all the officers who are working really hard in challenging times to keep the whole community safe. So that's it for today. And thank you for being part of the Bright Side, Jim. Thanks.
Thanks, Neil.